same AB and AD duct, but you've got to get the golf club at P5, P5.5 arranged properly. Boom. Yep, just a good solid hit. Same system though. What was that like?
Felt really good.
It's filthy, right?
Yeah, really good.
That right there, like your response, is exactly what we're looking for out of every single friggin' player.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? We're back.
We're back.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, been seeing a lot of comments in there in regards to arm structure.
Yep.
Really good questions about backswing, what the wrists do, like really everything in here.
Okay.
I think we can go over that.
My first question to you is, how do you define the arms and how do you define the hands? Like, is there a cutoff in your mind?
Sure. I mean, I think we've talked about this before. Like anything below wrist or what is it, forearm, mid forearm, is hand action. Right, and then anything above there up into the shoulder line is arm action.
Yeah.
Right.
And I really think it's important to like differentiate the two because like if you just look at anatomically, like the forearm section and anatomically the upper arm section, like there's one bone here, there's two bones here.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. Like this can do this, and this, if I rotate it, it looks completely different. Like that's internal and external compared to pronation and supination.
Okay.
So what this is doing directly affects down here. When we think of the hands, we think from below the wrist. So if I do anything in here, that's a pronation supination action. That's the two bones in here.
Directly affects the hand though.
Exactly.
I got it.
The ulnar and the radius is totally affecting what the hand itself is doing.
Got it.
So that's why we go, cutoff is right here at the elbow all the way down to the fingertips. That's hand action, and arm action's up here.
Okay, cool.
Right? So that's just our definition, by the way. You can have your own definition. That's just how we see things.
Yeah.
Let's talk about arm action specifically in this video.
So anything above the elbow.
Exactly. Anything above the elbow.
Okay.
We might dabble down in here, but this is just going to be like secondary.
To what we're talking about here.
Yep, exactly, to the arms.
Got it.
I'd like to reverse engineer this from the standpoint of, if we just look at the golf swing in general, we have a load phase and we have an unload phase. So let's start with the unload phase and then we can work backwards, because it's really important to start to identify like how the arms do hit the ball, because it's a great feeling. I think a lot of times we get misconstrued sometimes in that, like once we're in P5 to delivery or the finish of the load phase, then now we just don't do anything with the arms and you just turn. And it just makes it feel like these just are like back here in space somewhere and there's never this hit. When there should be, like the arms do fire, the body does fire, it's the whole system that fires.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's first describe this. Go ahead and give me your club. And go ahead and just put both arms up in front of you here.
Got it.
Just like this. Show me lead arm abduction. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Show me trail arm adduction. That is the hit that we're looking for.
So this look here.
That look right there. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's it's kind of a fun like hit feel, because if I had something in my hands right here and I just went wham. Exactly. It's a strong hit. You can feel like the whole upper spiral really helping facilitate that, meaning from like the ribs to the top, like the bottom of the ribs to the top of the hat.
Okay.
Like you can feel lat, you can feel posterior line, you can feel frontal line, you feel like anterior, you feel everything. It's just a good solid boom.
Okay.
And it feels stable. Okay. Now the reason that you're able to do that, Tej, go ahead and go this way. Perfect. Both of your elbows, if I put a sensor here and a sensor there, are in front of your torso, meaning there's your torso line.
Okay.
Right? From an anterior, this would be posterior torso line.
Okay.
Okay, anterior torso line. See how both sensors are in front of that? So you have room for this trail elbow complex to fire across.
Because they're out in front.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. That's what we want. Just hold on to that thought. Both elbows at delivery are going to be in front of the torso. That's what we're looking for.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So show the load phase. So the load phase again is from P1 to P5. That's how we are generalizing the load phase. And then the unload phase is going to be from P5 to P8, P9, whatever the finish is.
Got
Okay. Let's go from P1 to just P4, the top of the backswing.
Okay.
Yep. So this is an issue that we see a lot of players do when they try to shallow the golf club. They will actively adduct this lead arm, so the lead humerus will go into the chest. Okay, and what that feels like I just did is I took the center mass of the club, which is right up here, and I got it behind or under the plane. Great, that is a way to shallow it. It's not the preferred way because now we have an issue. If I just take away, you stay right where you're at in space, I'm going to take away the club, okay, and I want to take away your lead arm, so just put it behind your back. Good. Here's the issue we have. This elbow now, here is TJ's trunk or torso, is behind that point in space.
Okay.
So now, if he wants to fire this arm, the way that he's going to fire the arm, like where the forces are going to go, as he turns forward, will get thrown out this way. This point in space gets thrown out and away this way. Exactly.
Because if it didn't, you'd feel kind of stuck through here.
There's not a hit. You'd have to trap it back here. This doesn't feel powerful. This feels way more powerful.
Got it.
Like all the energy, all the forces can spit out. But the problem with that is now, like if we dabble down in here, the hub path, which I think we've talked about a little bit before, it's just the point in space that's in between the hands. It's a pivot point. That pivot point, again, if my trail elbow gets trapped back here, so again, lead arm adduction, see where the elbow gets thrown. So now as I start to turn, see where the hub path got thrown?
Yeah, out to the right.
No longer can it radically curve, which is what we want. We want it to curve right around this complex. That's a stability feel. And I can hold load for longer. When this elbow just gets spit, see how all the load gets thrown out?
Yes.
The hub gets thrown out, the rate of rotation, the club face gets whacked, right? The bottom out is way more difficult to control. It's just much more difficult to control the bottom, the hit, and it doesn't feel as organized. So it just generally feels kind of grody.
Yeah, got it.
So yeah, that's shallowing. However, I just got both of the sensors, well, at least one of them, trapped behind my torso, and it no longer can swing. I no longer can simply adduct this lead arm.
Got it.
Okay, so let's go back up to P4.
Sure.
And this one again is kind of an interesting feel. If we're focusing on this lead sensor, lead elbow sensor, with this kind of an action, trying to point that sensor towards the sky, see how this never lowered?
Yes.
Stayed up?
Yeah, it stayed up.
But that action, this is an active action, meaning you're focused on here, right? That is internal rotation along with lead shoulder flexion. That's an up move.
Okay.
The combo makes it look that way.
Got it. So shoulder flexion would be this.
Yep,
and
the lifting of the arm.
internal rotation's this.
Exactly.
That feeling that you just showed right there is a combo of those two things.
And what you just showed when you were just doing this is a combo of them both. Just lead arm internal rotation would just spin this in space. See how this point doesn't really move?
Yep.
Okay, so this isn't what we're talking about. I'm trying to get this going that way. See how the hub path, the hub point doesn't really move in space?
Yes.
I'm keeping it in the same spot.
So hub point meaning this middle part of the hands here, right?
So if we kept that right here, okay, and you felt that action, that's a combo of shoulder flexion and internal rotation. If you showed just internal rotation, see where the hub path goes?
Sure.
So it didn't really do anything here, which is what I want to get at. So let's go back up to P4.
Okay.
So again, if we're looking at this, just going whoop. Okay, now, because of this active action, what did this do passively?
Externally rotated.
Yep, and it got back out in front of you, so there's some amount of adduction right there.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm going to take this away from you. Okay, keep this in space. There you go. Now, again, this is in front. So you have space for this arm to simply adduct. Now, just show adduction. There you go. So adduction is just this action right here. Boom, exactly. That action, you can already feel probably as the athlete, like what's the face doing right there?
Super stable.
Super stable,
Super
meaning
stable.
that the rate of rotation, it's still rotating, but it's much less.
Yes.
And
then if
this,
the forces got shot out that way.
Exactly. So put that arm right where you were again. There you go. See where my hand is? Just give me a high five, hard. There you go. See how that's a good solid hit? Do it again. Firmer. There. So you can hit with whatever amount of pace that you would like you can really hit, like if you're hitting driver, wham, that can go.
Yep.
If I want to hit a 70-yard wedge, boom.
Just a little bit.
Yep, exactly.
Got it.
But it's so much easier to regulate this space in here, which is probably going to be around the P5.5 range, all the way through to P8, which is like the fully unload, roughly fully unload phase.
Sure.
Right? It's just super stable. You can manage energy, you can manage bottom out, you can manage the face so much better.
Got it.
So if we go back to this, again, the image that I need players to have in their mind is at address, see how both elbows, both sensors are in front?
Yes.
Okay, and let's do this from down the line because we can just see things better. This is really important too. If I early adduct, which is a way to move the golf club, if I move the golf club simply with the arms right off the bat, so this adduction piece, see how I didn't move here at all? Where'd that sensor go? Yep, behind the torso line.
Got it.
Behind the torso line. Now I'm immediately stuck in the first foot of my golf swing. So that's why we like the upper spiral leading. So now see how both sensors are in front of the torso?
Yeah, still in front here. Got
Exactly. And that's kind of, in our minds, the finish of the backswing and the start of transition. So transition is with the arms. The lead shoulder will go into flexion to make this lift. Okay, and now from there, it's going to keep lifting as I go into internal rotation. So from right here, I'm going lead shoulder, flexion, internally rotated.
Okay, so that's the finish of backswing and into transition.
And that's the whole transition.
That's the whole transition.
Yep.
Got
So
it.
this would be the upper spiral. See, the arms aren't doing anything yet. I've almost fully turned here, but the arms are still down because they haven't done anything.
Okay.
I haven't adducted. I haven't gone into lead shoulder flexion. I haven't done any of that yet.
Sure.
You might just feel a little bit in the hands to get the center of mass of the club up. That's
Just a
totally
little
fine.
bit here,
But the
yeah.
arms didn't do anything.
No adductor.
Yep,
nothing.
exactly.
Okay.
No flexion, right? We're
None of
just
that.
going spiral. Might load the hand system again from the elbow down into the fingertips, but now from there, lead shoulder flexion going into internal rotation is what's going to feel like you hit. Yeah, and it'll fall all the way back down in here. Boom to P5. Whoop.
Yeah, so that's not happening up to P4. That's happening into P5.
There you go, all the way to P5. So the reason that dropped right there, the main reason, like it's lowering, is because you're dropping the pelvis.
Okay.
So this is why transition's so hard. There's like 900 things that can go.
There's so many things going on.
Exactly. Whereas backswing is like, okay, upper spiral and maybe a little bit of trail wrist like RD and extension. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So it's like, there's backswing. Now there's shoulder flexion, lead arm internal, dropping, swaying the ribs. All that stuff can happen in transition. This video is only meant for what's going on in here though.
Sure.
So all I'm really doing is lead shoulder flexion along with internal rotation of this lead upper arm. If I drop, now I would look like roughly into P5.
Sure, yeah.
Where are both sensors right now?
In front of that rib line or that chest line.
Exactly.
Yep.
So this goes back to what I can do from right here. I can feel lead arm abduction, trail arm adduction. There's the hit.
There's the hit.
And see how stable that is.
Yeah, and you can use all that as long as you're in that in front of you position.
Exactly. Compared to if I'm here, and a lot of players will transition by going lead shoulder flexion into adduction. See that action? So now from here, I can't adduct because my torso's in the way.
That's where you see the face flash so hard.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Which is, I mean, there's guys on tour that do that. So
Sure.
you can do it. It's
Yeah.
just we're looking at like how do we manage the bottom better?
Yes.
And a lot of people like fail to understand that really high level players have developed a golf swing that we don't really want to touch the main big quirks that make them good. We want to manage it for them and have that athlete better understand their system and what makes them great.
Got it.
We're talking about building a golf swing that would be a preferred pattern that would be so easy to manage.
Yes.
That's why we like guys like Neiman, Mito, Hovland. All those guys have this kind of a pattern, plus this flexion action gives me more room in here to operate compared to extension. See how that's in the way?
Sure.
It almost forces a higher rate of rotation in the club face because I'm in the way. My whole engine's in the way. Now I can't manage it as well.
Yeah, so for developing players, it might be better to try to move towards a more stable club face through the strike, one that's easier to manage, especially when you don't have like all the time in the world to practice. I have that conversation all the time. Like this game has gotten a whole lot easier when I didn't have to rely on this pattern.
Exactly.
I got good at it.
Yeah.
But through like loads and loads of practice, daily, timing.
Exactly. And I think that's just a question that every single athlete needs to ask themselves is it doesn't really matter the amount of time that you've worked on something. It matters truly how skilled you are.
Sure.
So if you've practiced for 2 years and you shoot some 65s.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We probably want to manage what you've built because it's working really well.
Right.
If you've practiced for 10 years and you're shooting 85s, we probably need to get rid of the quirks that are stalling you out.
So go in
replace
there
them with better ones.
Clean up some of those areas. Yeah.
So it's just a very honest conversation that you want to have with yourself.
Sure.
Different topic. Okay. But let's show how to go ahead and put this into kind of some action here. So let's do a modified 2-piece. Okay. All you're going to do, Tej, is work into P5 appropriately here. Good. So there's P5.5, which is just fine. Right here's great. And appropriately for this video means simply both sensors are in front of this torso right here. Primarily this trail sensor.
So not here.
Yep.
Out front here.
Exactly. Now from right there, all I want to see you do, we're just going to chip one into the screen. Pure abduction, and pure adduction to hit this ball. Yep, exactly. There you go. Excellent. Let's go a step further here. We'll do the same thing into P5.
Okay.
P5 or P5.5 where you're managing the sensors. Boom. Excellent. Now same abduction and adduction, but let the chest just softly rotate with it. Good. And what you'll see, like if you freeze the clip for folks up there, you'll see how stable that club face is. I mean, there's hardly any rotation at all. It's just like the face is just like da-da-da-da-da-da, just matching the path. Okay. Now let's go to like 50% maximum swing here. Okay. But in your mind's eye, the image that I want you to have is you are just going back here and almost placing this system. You could throw like 3 points of interest. The center of mass of the balance point of the club and both sensors in the elbows, that triangle. Where do you want that arranged? You're just going to place it there, but keep going and tap a ball into the screen. Okay. Okay, so just show where P5.5 is first, where you're going to be. Boom. See where you're at? So in your mind's eye, okay, go back to address. Instead of moving to there, you're going to move through there softly, but in your mind's eye, you're just going to place it there and then turn an AB and AD duct. There you go. Good. Let's do that again. Okay. And what's really nice with this exercise is speed is the thing that will kind of level everything out. We're taking all that away, so you really have to understand this system of hit in here to feel really good. Okay. Place it there, AB, AD duct, along with a little chest rotation. Very cool. And what we want, like, and this is like every athlete just wants to sense this, is how much of this do I have? How much of that do I have? So you're just managing this triangle of, right, the center mass of the club and each sensor in each elbow. And you should feel like, oh, some of them are just so good. And you can just feel this nice hit in here where that doesn't really rotate all that much. These also don't really rotate all that much. It's just this nice solid hit. Sure. Yeah, it's just like bump. Got it. That's like our preferred pattern of arm action there. Okay. Okay. So now, like we were talking about before, where if you're really smacking my hand, you're still going to feel like you're placing it here and then throw some more energy into that and we'll see what happens. Still the same AB and AD duct, but you've got to get the golf club at P5, P5.5 arranged properly. Boom. Yep, just a good solid hit. Same system though. What was that like?
Felt really good.
It's filthy, right?
Yeah, really good.
That right there, like your response, is exactly what we're looking for out of every single friggin' player.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So we just want these little bits that we can nibble on that just go, ooh.
Just make you feel really good.
It feels really good.
Yeah.
And what we're always looking for as athletes is we're feeling good in the hit phase. P5 to P8 is like the hit phase. This is the boom, this is the unload.
Yeah.
If you feel good there, it's probably because you set yourself up from
Sure.
P1 to P5 to manage the space easier and better.
Fair enough.
And then you
Yeah.
feel freaking great.
Yeah,
So that's the arms, baby.
that's the arms.
Put some sensors on those elbows and let's get to work.
Keep them in front, right?
That's right, exactly. Awesome stuff. Comment below. Let us know if you have any questions. We'd be happy to answer.
Let's do it.